Hikers capture a mysterious creature in the Rocky Mountains. The account shared by Jessee Clauson and Camille Avarella has quickly become one of the most unsettling outdoor encounters ever reported in Colorado. The two hikers, both experienced and familiar with the rugged terrain of the Rocky Mountains, set out during the early hours of the 24th of August with the goal of conquering the towering 14,000-foot height of Long's Peak. Their journey began at around 2 in the morning, when the trail was still wrapped in darkness, and continued through steep inclines, narrow ledges, and adrenaline-fueled climbs that demanded their full concentration. By the time they reached the upper sections of the mountain at around 9 in the morning, they paused to take photographs of the dramatic landscape stretching out before them. They were tired, exhilarated, and focused on the achievement of the climb rather than the details of the scenery behind them. Neither of them noticed anything unusual at the time. The photograph that would later cause shock and confusion was taken purely because of the beauty of the mountain range, not because anything strange had caught their eye. It was only weeks later, while sharing the images with family, that the frightening discovery emerged. Displayed on a large plasma screen, the photograph revealed something neither of them had noticed during the hike. Clinging to the side of the mountain was a towering figure, pale grey, impossibly thin, and positioned in a way that suggested it was scaling the sheer rock face with ease. When Camille's father first pointed out an unusual white shape, they zoomed in to get a closer look. What appeared on the screen was so large, so unnerving, and so out of place that the room fell silent. Camille's father estimated the figure to be around 20 feet tall, based on its scale relative to the surrounding rocks. Jessee remembered the moment with disbelief, recalling how everyone stared at the image, trying to understand what they were seeing. Camille noted that although it could be a rock formation, the shape had defined limbs, a torso, and a posture that resembled something human. The more they examined the photograph, the more apparent the humanoid anatomy became, with long arms, an elongated form, and what appeared to be a head turned toward the mountain. After posting the image in a Colorado hiking group, dozens of people responded with concern, fascination, and theories ranging from ancient unknown species to visitors not from this world. Jessee admitted that the idea of it being an extraterrestrial presence crossed her mind, particularly because of its height and shape. Camille shared the sentiment, describing the anatomy as so human-like and yet so far beyond the range of normal proportions that it felt deeply unsettling. The pair emphasized that although they are curious about the nature of the creature, they have no plans to repeat the 15-hour trek to search for it again. The distance and isolation of the location offered them some comfort, as they believed that whatever they captured on camera was too far away to pose any immediate danger. Still, the mystery remains firmly in their minds. Jessee hopes that another experienced hiker might one day document something similar, perhaps providing answers to what they inadvertently discovered during their descent from Long's Peak. To this day, the photograph stands as one of the most mysterious images taken on the mountain, a haunting reminder that even in the modern era, the natural world may still hold secrets that defy explanation. Mysterious CCTV footage. This photograph emerged under circumstances that were unsettling from the very beginning. According to the owner, the image was captured on the very night they purchased a new CCTV camera. They left the device charging beside their bed before heading out to meet friends at a local pub, thinking nothing of it. The house was empty, the doors locked, and the quiet evening should have passed without incident. Yet only a few hours later, their phone buzzed with an unexpected alert. The camera had detected motion. It had taken a sequence of images, and what those images revealed would stay with them long after that night. In the dim light of the bedroom, a shadow-like figure appeared. The initial photo was grainy, but the outline was unmistakable, something human-shaped, with long dark hair draping forward as if it were watching the room in silence. The owner stared at the image in disbelief, their mind racing for explanations. They returned home soon after, uneasy and unable to shake the sense that something had slipped into their private space while they were away. Once home, they transferred the images to their computer, brightening them to reveal more details. What had previously been a vague figure now showed features that were far more disturbing. The face looked gaunt, with hollow contours and rough stubble around the jawline. The limbs appeared unusually thin, as though the figure was starved or drained of life. It did not look like a person casually walking past the camera. It looked like something standing still with intent, as though it had been waiting in that room for reasons no one could fully understand. Those who later studied the image began offering their own theories, and one suggestion quickly gained attention. Across Britain, countless homes were built over medieval sites, including ancient tunnels used by monks during times of conflict. These tunnels stretched beneath villages and farmlands, forgotten by time, but not always empty. If this property stood over such a network, then perhaps something from those lower passageways had never fully departed. Some believe that remnants of the past, energetic echoes or wandering presences, may still drift through the structures built above them. In this case, that theory offered a chilling possibility. If the house indeed rested over one of those medieval tunnels, then the figure captured on the CCTV camera might not have been an intruder from the outside world. It might have been something older, something that lingered in the dark spaces beneath the home, only emerging when stirred by movement or sound above. For the owner, the photograph became more than a random anomaly. It felt like a glimpse into a hidden layer of the house's history, one that suggested that not everything beneath the surface had been left behind. Whatever the truth may be, the image remains one of the most unsettling pieces of evidence collected from an ordinary bedroom on an otherwise unremarkable night. Mysterious trail camera image. The series of photographs captured by a trail camera in a quiet field has quickly become one of the most puzzling pieces of visual evidence shared in recent months. The owner of the camera explained that the images were taken on the morning of the 20th of October and that nothing unusual had been expected that day. The location is remote, with open land stretching for hundreds of yards in all directions, and the camera is generally used to monitor wildlife. Yet what appeared in these frames was unlike anything they had seen before. The anomaly shows what seems to be a dark, rounded shape suspended in mid-air. In the clearest frame, it appears to be drifting or hovering, almost as if it were floating several feet above the ground. Its form is smooth on one side but jagged on the other, giving the impression that it may not be a natural creature at all. Even more unsettling is the strange formation positioned on its upper side, an almost helmet-like structure that gives the object an eerie, sentient appearance. The person who shared the image stated that their first thought had been a flying squirrel, but the distance from nearby trees makes that explanation unlikely, as the closest tree in the direction of travel is over 400 yards away. As the images circulated online, many viewers remarked on how unusual the object's shape appears when filtered or brightened. The hovering form seems to maintain its symmetry from frame to frame, suggesting controlled movement rather than a creature falling or gliding through the air. Others noticed that there is no visible motion blur, which would typically appear if the object were darting quickly like a bird or small mammal. Instead, the object appears steady, as though it were intentionally holding its position at the moment of capture. This lack of natural behavior has led some researchers to entertain the possibility that the object may be technological rather than biological. A number of viewers have pointed out similarities between the shape seen in the trail camera images and small unmanned aerial vehicles that have been reported in rural areas across North America. Some have speculated that it could be a type of compact reconnaissance craft with an unconventional design, possibly using silent propulsion that allows it to travel at low altitudes without detection. Others have pushed the theory further, suggesting that the object might not be a human-made device at all. They argue that the unique contour of the object, along with the strange structure atop it, resembles descriptions given in historical reports of small airborne craft seen moving soundlessly above fields and forests. For these individuals, the trail camera may have inadvertently captured a brief pass of a much larger phenomenon, one that has been observed for decades but rarely documented with such clarity. The foggy conditions on the morning the images were taken only add to the mystery. The soft, diffused light creates a stark contrast between the hovering object and the pale sky, allowing its outline to stand out with unusual sharpness. This clarity has allowed many to take a closer look, deepening the intrigue and raising more questions about what exactly drifted through that silent field. For now, the images remain unexplained, a rare moment where technology captured something that seems to lie just beyond the boundaries of the ordinary. Strange creature caught on trail camera. The trail camera photograph captured in the deep forests of the Pacific Northwest has quickly become one of the most discussed and debated images among researchers and enthusiasts who follow reports of the elusive Bigfoot. The individual who uploaded the photo explained that their camera had been set up on a quiet slope overlooking a well-used animal path. On the morning of the 11th of September, at around 10:04, the device triggered and recorded something that left the owner at a complete loss for words. What appeared in the frame did not resemble any creature they had seen in the region, and its proportions immediately set it apart from the usual wildlife that wanders through these forests. The figure in the photograph stands on all fours, but its build is unlike any known bear or large mammal native to the area. Its limbs appear elongated and powerful, with a posture that suggests a being capable of rising upright if needed. The body is covered in dark hair that looks thick and coarse, and the mass of the back rises higher than what would be expected from a black bear. Perhaps the most striking element is the head, which seems more domed and forward set, giving the figure an appearance that does not neatly fit into any recognized species. When the photograph was first posted online, the owner mentioned that they had lived in the Pacific Northwest for years and were accustomed to seeing all manners of wildlife on their land. They insisted that nothing about this creature matched the movements or structure of a bear, and its unusual stance made them uneasy. It was not lumbering or digging the way bears typically behave. Instead, it appeared to be moving with intention, almost as though it were transitioning from a crawl into a more upright posture before the camera triggered. As the photo began to circulate, Bigfoot researchers quickly took notice. Some pointed out the proportion of the limbs in comparison to the torso, noting that the arms seemed longer than those of a bear and more in line with eyewitness descriptions of Bigfoot sightings stretching back many decades. Others highlighted the slope of the shoulders, which rises sharply and then tapers into the spine in a way that resembles earlier footprint-matched casts and visual accounts from encounters throughout Washington and Oregon. Groups dedicated to studying the creature took the time to enhance the image digitally, revealing subtle details in the fur texture and muscle structure. Several analysts argued that the density and placement of the hair across the back looked more similar to reported juvenile Bigfoot specimens than to any known fauna. The angle of the legs also reinforced this idea, showing a bend that seemed more suited to a creature capable of shifting between quadrupedal and bipedal movement. The location adds yet another layer to the mystery. The Pacific Northwest is one of the most frequently cited regions for Bigfoot activity, with dense forests, vast uncharted wilderness, and generations of stories describing tall, hairy beings moving silently among the trees. Many researchers believe that if such a creature exists, these secluded environments would offer the ideal refuge. For now, the photograph stands as one of the more intriguing images added to the growing body of evidence. The mystery of the gurning man of Glasgow. In the quiet neighborhoods of Glasgow during the 1970s, a series of unusual sightings began to unsettle the local population, particularly women walking alone at night. These reports centered around a mysterious figure who would come to be known as the gurning man of Glasgow. Though no crimes were ever linked to his appearances, the encounters were strange enough to leave lasting impressions on those who saw him. Despite multiple sightings across different districts, the man was never identified, and the true nature of his behavior remains unexplained. Witnesses consistently described the figure as tall and very thin, wearing tight-fitting black clothing that clung to his lanky frame, but it was not his appearance alone that caused discomfort. The man was often seen performing exaggerated facial contortions, what in Scottish slang is referred to as gurning. These strange expressions, combined with his silent demeanor, gave the encounters a deeply unsettling quality. Some witnesses said he appeared to mimic them, copying their movements or facial expressions without saying a word. Others reported him simply standing and watching, his face twisted into a grotesque smile or grimace. Most of the sightings occurred during the late evening or nighttime hours, often in residential areas or near parks. The man would appear suddenly and vanish just as quickly. In some cases, he was seen standing motionless under streetlights or near fences, as if waiting. In others, he was observed pacing back and forth, seemingly lost in his own strange world. Despite the disturbing nature of his presence, he never attempted to engage anyone physically or verbally. This made the events all the more perplexing. There was no clear motive, no demand, no message, only silence and an eerie performance of bizarre facial movements. The Glasgow police took the reports seriously at first, particularly because many of the witnesses were frightened by their encounters. However, as time passed and no physical harm was reported, the sightings were gradually dismissed or faded from official attention. Yet the stories continued to circulate, becoming a kind of urban legend within the community. Those who encountered the gurning man remembered him vividly and often recounted their experiences years later with the same sense of confusion and unease. Theories about the gurning man range widely. Some suggest he was an eccentric local resident with a unique way of expressing himself. Others believe the sightings may have involved a person dealing with a mental health condition, though no such individual was ever identified. Still, a portion of the public has leaned into more paranormal interpretations, wondering if the gurning man was something more than human, an entity, a ghost, or even a psychological projection shared among different people. The consistency of the descriptions across various unrelated witnesses only adds to the mystery. Whatever the explanation, the gurning man of Glasgow remains one of the city's most unusual unsolved mysteries. Mysterious video shows a UFO during the Red Arrows display at the Queen's Jubilee. During the Queen's Jubilee celebration, an event marked by grandeur and national pride, a moment of mystery unfolded in the skies above London. The Red Arrows, the Royal Air Force's renowned aerobatics team, performed a spectacular flypast that mesmerized spectators both on the ground and watching on television. Yet, among the vibrant trails of red, white and blue left behind by the jets, some viewers noticed something unexpected, a strange, circular object cutting across the display in a flash. The sighting has since sparked curiosity, debate and fascination among UFO researchers and the public alike. Footage from the event, captured and shared by major broadcasters including Sky News, as well as aviation channel Big Jet TV, appears to show an unknown object zipping through the air. The object moves rapidly and at a perpendicular angle to the formation of jets, drawing attention for both its speed and trajectory. Unlike the deliberate and synchronized flight of the Red Arrows, this unidentified aerial presence moves with a spontaneity that is hard to explain. Its sudden appearance and quick exit have fueled speculation about its origin and purpose. Observers were quick to share their thoughts, particularly on platforms like Reddit, where one viewer noted how the object moved far too fast to be explained by a balloon, bird, or even a typical drone. Its flight path, they argued, was too controlled and its acceleration too sharp. To many, this added weight to the idea that the object was something truly unexplained, a form of aerial phenomenon that defies conventional understanding. UFO researchers have long discussed the appearance of small orb-like objects near large public gatherings. These orbs are one of the most commonly reported types of UFOs and are often described as silent, spherical, and capable of high-speed movement with sudden changes in direction. Their presence has been noted near sporting events, air shows, and even during military exercises. Some researchers believe that these objects are drawn to events where human emotion and energy are high, suggesting a kind of observational role, almost as if the orbs are watching or monitoring the scene below. In the case of the Queen's Jubilee, the appearance of such an object during a high-profile televised event has only added to its intrigue. The sheer number of cameras and eyewitnesses present makes this incident stand out from more anecdotal UFO sightings. The fact that it was captured from multiple angles and broadcast to a large audience provides a rare opportunity to analyze the footage in detail. Despite this, the object remains unidentified, with no official explanation from the authorities. Some believe the object may be a form of advanced surveillance technology, while others lean toward more speculative interpretations involving phenomena not yet understood by modern science. Regardless of the theory, the sighting has reopened discussions about what might be observing us from above. Whether coincidence or something more intentional, the object's presence during a moment of national celebration raises questions that remain unanswered. The mystery of King Charles's new official portrait. On May 14, 2024, the unveiling of King Charles's new official portrait sent waves through both the art world and the general public. Unlike the calm, stately images often associated with royal portraiture, This painting broke sharply from tradition. Painted in a dominant, almost overwhelming shade of red, it presented the monarch in a striking, contemplative pose, but with an undertone that many described as haunting. The portrait's unsettling aesthetic would have been enough on its own to stir discussion, but the events leading up to its reveal added a mysterious layer that no one could ignore. Just weeks before the portrait was made public, on April 24th, a peculiar incident occurred in London that left many both disturbed and intrigued. A white horse, stained with what appeared to be red liquid, was seen galloping through the city streets. The horse appeared panicked and disoriented, its pale coat streaked with vivid red. Eyewitnesses described the animal as though it had emerged from a surreal scene, majestic but terrifying. Not long after the painting's reveal, online users began experimenting with the image, reversing, filtering, and enhancing it in search of hidden meanings. What they uncovered only deepened the intrigue and added an eerie dimension to an already mysterious work of art. One of the most viral discoveries came when someone mirrored the image vertically, placing the right half of the painting against its reversed left side. The result, to the astonishment of many, appeared to reveal a terrifying horned figure emerging from the background. With what looked like curved horns protruding from its head, deep-set dark eyes, and a distorted mouth, the symmetrical composition gave the illusion of a looming presence that had gone unnoticed in the original portrait. The mirroring trick spread like wildfire. Users on social media began sharing their reactions, ranging from fascination to genuine discomfort. Some believed there was more to it, suggesting that the hidden figure was too detailed and too well aligned to be purely accidental. The theories multiplied quickly. Some suggested the horned creature represented a metaphorical shadow, the burdens of the monarchy, the legacy of centuries of rule, or even a symbolic battle between image and identity. Others leaned into the supernatural, connecting the image to ancient symbols of power, mythology, or even darker interpretations. The fact that the painting was already drenched in red, a color loaded with emotional weight and historical connotation, only amplified the reactions. The artist, Jonathan Yeo, did not immediately respond to the mirrored image phenomenon, which only added to the mystery. What makes this entire episode so captivating is how it taps into something deeply human, the need to find meaning in what we see, especially when that meaning feels hidden, cryptic, or emotionally charged. Whether the horned figure was a trick of light, a subconscious composition, or something far more intentional, it transformed a royal portrait into something much more than art. It became a puzzle, a viral mystery, and for many, a portal into larger questions about power, perception, and the messages buried beneath the surface of tradition. The Canadian police investigate after 14th human foot washes up on the coastline. In a development that has both puzzled and concerned the public, another human foot has washed ashore along the British Columbia coastline. This most recent find, discovered on Gabriola Island in the Georgia Strait, marks the 14th such incident since 2007. The discovery, like those before it, has sparked an ongoing investigation by Canadian authorities, particularly the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who continue to search for patterns and explanations behind this strange phenomenon. Each of the feet has been found wearing a shoe, with the most recent one inside a hiking boot, drawing both public curiosity and scientific inquiry. The latest foot was found just after midday by a man walking along the beach. Upon noticing something stuck in the shoreline debris, he realized it resembled a foot inside a boot. Police later confirmed that it was indeed human remains, prompting an official investigation. After this story was reported by media outlets, it quickly captured the public's attention, reigniting interest in a mystery that has haunted the region for over a decade. Since 2007, a total of 14 shoe-clad feet have surfaced along the shores of British Columbia, most of them encased in running shoes. Authorities have said these are just the confirmed cases. There may be more that have gone unnoticed or unreported. These occurrences have led to widespread speculation about their origin, with theories ranging from natural disasters to boating accidents, and even more dramatic possibilities, such as criminal activity. In one notable case from December 2017, a man walking his dog along the southern edge of Vancouver Island stumbled upon one of these feet. The dog, intrigued by something caught in seaweed, led its owner to the remains. This foot was later found to belong to a 79-year-old man from Washington state who had previously been reported missing. The discovery, while offering some closure in that instance, raised even more questions about how and why the foot had separated and drifted across the international border. One of the key reasons the feet have been discovered intact is due to the protective nature of modern footwear. Running shoes and hiking boots are built from durable, buoyant materials that resist decomposition and float on water, which may explain why the feet are preserved while the rest of the remains are never recovered. In many of the cases investigated, forensic experts and coroners have found no signs of foul play. There has been no evidence of trauma or harm, leading investigators to rule out suspicious activity in most cases. Instead, natural separation due to decomposition in aquatic environments is considered a likely cause. Despite this, the mystery continues to attract attention not only from the public, but from forensic scientists and marine experts. Some researchers have explored the possibility that natural disasters, such as the 2004 tsunami in the Indian Ocean, may have displaced bodies and sent them adrift across the Pacific. Others consider the idea that boating accidents, airline incidents, or individuals lost at sea could be behind some of the cases. While such events are tragic, the repeated finding of only feet, particularly those still wearing shoes, makes the situation highly unusual. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, along with the Provincial Coroner's Office and forensic identification specialists, are currently working to determine the identity of the most recent remains. DNA testing, shoe analysis, and comparison with missing persons databases are among the methods used to match the remains with known individuals. Authorities have successfully identified some of the feet in the past, which has provided closure for a few families. Still, many remain unidentified, leaving open-ended questions about the origins of the rest. In total, of the known cases, 2 matching pairs have been identified, while the remaining feet belong to individual cases. Most of the feet have been identified as male, further narrowing the scope of investigation but not offering a complete answer. The lack of signs of injury or harm adds a layer of complexity, as it suggests that the separations were likely the result of natural processes rather than violent events. As Canadian investigators continue to work on the case, the appearance of yet another foot has reignited interest in solving this unsettling coastal mystery. While advances in forensic science have helped identify some of the remains, the broader question, why this specific region has seen such a concentration of these discoveries, remains unanswered. Until more information comes to light, the investigation into British Columbia's washing up feet will continue to capture the imagination and concern of those both locally and around the world. The mystery of the ghost blimp. In 1942, a bizarre incident unfolded off the coast of California that has never been fully explained. What began as a routine patrol mission ended in mystery when a US Navy blimp, designated L8, returned to land without its crew. The blimp was in perfect condition, its engines still running, but its 2-man team had vanished without a trace. To this day, the disappearance of the crew remains one of the strangest unsolved events in American military history. The blimp had departed early in the morning from Treasure Island, San Francisco Bay, with Lieutenant Ernest Cody and Ensign Charles Adams aboard. Their mission was straightforward: patrol the coastline for any signs of enemy submarines. With the war at its height, such assignments were common and usually uneventful. The 2 men were experienced and familiar with the aircraft, and the weather conditions that day were calm and clear. Initial radio contact with the blimp indicated nothing unusual. However, after a final report about investigating a possible oil slick on the water's surface, often an indicator of a submerged submarine, all communication ceased. Hours later, residents of Daly City, south of San Francisco, looked up to see the same blimp drifting silently overhead, sagging slightly but otherwise undamaged. It eventually came to rest in the middle of a suburban street, catching on utility poles and rooftops. Emergency crews arrived quickly, expecting to assist the crew, only to find the gondola empty. What investigators found inside only deepened the mystery. All safety equipment was still in place. The parachutes, lifeboats, and radio were untouched. The door was latched open, but there was no sign of a struggle, distress, or mechanical failure. It was as if the 2 men had simply vanished into thin air. The condition of the blimp suggested it had been flying on autopilot for some time before descending. The Navy launched an extensive investigation. They explored every possible explanation, from mechanical failure that might have led the men to exit mid-air to the idea that they may have fallen overboard while attempting repairs. Yet, the blimp's structure and equipment showed no signs that either man had been required to leave the gondola, and no remains or personal effects were ever recovered. The waters where they disappeared were searched thoroughly, with no results. Over time, the story of the L-8 became known as the ghost blimp. Some have speculated that the disappearance involved more than just wartime accidents or human error. With the aircraft intact and weather conditions favorable, theories about something stranger at work began to circulate. While the military considered the matter closed after exhausting all conventional avenues, others remain convinced that the mystery is deeper than official accounts suggest. Whether due to a bizarre accident, unknown forces, or something more mysterious, the fate of Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams remains unsolved. In the annals of Bigfoot lore, tales of strange encounters and mysterious sightings abound, captivating the imaginations of believers and skeptics alike. Yet amidst the countless stories of fleeting glimpses and blurry photographs, one encounter stands out as particularly compelling. The story of a man who claims to have photographed a female Bigfoot with what appeared to be a baby on its back in a remote mountain wilderness area. The story begins with a man whose identity remains shrouded in anonymity, embarking on a solo expedition into the rugged and untamed wilderness of the mountains. The man called himself Mark, but added that this wasn't his real name, as he was concerned about privacy and safety and wanted to maintain anonymity. The man claimed to have come across a mysterious creature while trekking at Wonder Mountain Wilderness, which is a region that includes Wonder Mountain in the Olympic National Forest on the Olympic Peninsula of Washington, D.C. He was walking along a small mountain trail when all of a sudden he noticed a black mass in front of him. He added that he had seen them stand on two legs and that at first he had assumed the creature to be a black bear, noting how strangely humanoid they appeared when they did so. This phenomena of people confusing black bears for Bigfoot has happened all throughout the world, especially in areas where both animals are known to live. Despite the fact that Bigfoot and black bears are clearly distinct species, there are a number of elements that can cause confusion and result in false sightings and identifications. The physical similarities between black bears and Bigfoot, especially in low light or from a distance, are one of the main causes of confusion between the two species. It can be challenging to tell the two species apart, because they are both huge bipedal mammals with dark fur, especially in poorly light or hidden areas like dense forests or heavy underbrush. But the man claimed that upon closer inspection, he was able to determine that this was unquestionably not a black bear. The man claimed that the creature in question was a female, and that it wasn't alone. Clinging to her back is what appears to be a small, juvenile Bigfoot, its fur matted and unkempt. The man said he couldn't believe what was happening, and quickly snapped a photograph with his camera, adding that it's blurry due to the fact the female Bigfoot was moving at the time the image was taken. As quickly as he sighted the creature, he said that the encounter was over almost as quickly as it began. The man observed the female Bigfoot and her young disappear back into the wilderness, saying that he was astounded by how disguised they both were, and that he would have never known they were there if he hadn't seen them. Interestingly, Bigfoot researchers have said that the dense vegetation and complex terrain of forest environments provide great opportunities for Bigfoot to conceal itself from sight, adding that thick underbrush, dense foliage, and rugged terrain can all provide natural cover and concealment for these large animals. In tests carried out by numerous Bigfoot researchers, participants were instructed to dress like Bigfoot and stand just a few meters away from the creatures in the forest. It is said that because of the dense undergrowth, it is nearly impossible to spot them, and because they are so well camouflaged against the forest's backdrop, you wouldn't even know they were there. The man said that the photographs were captured back in 2016 and added that due to the clarity and detail of the image, you can make out various details. As with many of these encounters, it would go on to capture the attention of Bigfoot enthusiasts, researchers, and skeptics alike. The photographs were analyzed by experts in the field, who said that there's no denying that this creature is a Bigfoot, adding that it can't get mistaken for a bear. For believers, It is photographs like this that represent a long-awaited breakthrough in the search for definitive proof of Bigfoot's existence. The clarity and detail of the images, combined with the corroborating testimony of the man, lend credibility to the possibility that these elusive creatures may indeed roam the remote wilderness areas of the world. Skeptics, on the other hand, remain unconvinced by these types of photographs, citing the lack of independent verification and the possibility of hoax or misidentification. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that someone has claimed to have encountered a female Bigfoot. Hikers who report encountering female Bigfoot often describe the experience as both awe-inspiring and unnerving. The sight of a large bipedal creature with dark fur or hair, humanoid features, and a distinctly feminine appearance can be a profoundly surreal and unsettling experience, leaving a lasting impression on those who witness it. One of the most striking aspects of encounters with female Bigfoot is the creature's size and physical presence. Female Bigfoot are often described as being similar in size and stature to adult Bigfoot males, with a height ranging from 6 to 8 feet tall and a robust, muscular build. Their dark fur or hair is typically described as being thick and unkempt, with a matted appearance that blends seamlessly into the surrounding wilderness environment. In addition to their physical appearance, female Bigfoot are often reported to exhibit behaviors that are both curious and cautious. Some hikers claim to have observed female Bigfoot watching them from a distance, displaying a mixture of curiosity and wariness as they observe the human intruders in their territory. Others report encounters in which female Bigfoot are seen foraging for food, caring for young, or engaging in social interactions with other members of their species. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of encounters with female Bigfoot is the possibility of observing maternal behavior. While the details of Bigfoot's social structure and family dynamics remain largely speculative, some hikers claim to have witnessed female Bigfoot caring for young offspring, leading to speculation about the creature's biology and family life. These accounts offer tantalizing hints about the elusive creature's behavior and social structure, shedding light on the mysteries of Bigfoot's existence. Despite the compelling nature of these accounts, skeptics and critics remain skeptical of the idea of encountering female Bigfoot in the wilderness. They argue that the lack of concrete evidence, such as clear photographs, videos, or physical remains, makes it difficult to verify the authenticity of these claims. Furthermore, they point to the prevalence of hoaxes, misidentifications, and exaggerations in Bigfoot lore as reasons to approach such accounts with caution and skepticism. However, for those who have had first-hand encounters with female Bigfoot in the wilderness, the experience is often deeply profound and transformative. Whether the encounters are fleeting glimpses from a distance or up-close encounters with the creature in its natural habitat, they leave a lasting impression on those who witness them, sparking a sense of wonder, curiosity, and reverence for the mysteries of the natural world. Recently, a retired army member bravely shared intriguing insights regarding the fate of the human soul after your last moments. He said the following: "When you pass away, you have choices. When you leave your physical body, it's very typical for you to see yourself standing next to your body, with either your loved ones or EMTs, or whatever your circumstances are, and you see yourself, and then you will hear a voice, and you will see the tunnel of light, and the voice will be calling you, or you will hear the voice telepathically telling you to come on. As you stand there and look at the tunnel of light, you have a choice. You can go up to the tunnel of light, where you'll be with other loved ones that had crossed over, and you'll be put into a system where you are caught in a reincarnation cycle. Or you can turn around and put the tunnel of light around you, and what you will see is the entire universe. If you choose the universe instead of the tunnel of light, whatever dimension you came from when you came down here to Earth, if you choose the universe and you say to yourself, 'I wish to go home,' you will return to that dimension from which you came. You will leave here and go back to that dimension, where I'm told you will be reunited with your soul growth because we were multidimensional. I've never shared this information before." End quote. Consciousness, the mysterious essence of our existence, has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and mystics for centuries. It is the foundation of our subjective experience, the inner theatre where thoughts, emotions, and perceptions dance in a symphony of awareness. Yet, despite our best efforts to understand it, consciousness remains one of the greatest mysteries of the human experience. At its core, consciousness is the subjective experience of being alive, the feeling of I am that pervades our waking moments. It encompasses our thoughts, sensations, and emotions, providing us with a continuous stream of awareness that shapes our perception of the world. And yet, despite its ubiquity in human experience, consciousness defies easy explanation. One of the most perplexing aspects of consciousness is its relationship to the physical brain. While it is clear that our subjective experience arises from the activity of neurons and neural networks in the brain, the precise mechanisms by which this occurs remain elusive. Scientists have made significant strides in understanding the neural correlates of consciousness, the specific brain regions and patterns of activity associated with different aspects of conscious experience, but the fundamental nature of consciousness itself remains a mystery. One of the key questions in the study of consciousness is known as the hard problem, the question of how and why subjective experience arises from physical processes in the brain. While it is relatively straightforward to correlate neural activity with specific cognitive functions, such as perception, memory, and language, explaining why these activities give rise to conscious awareness is far more challenging. This gap between brain activity and subjective experience is often described as the explanatory gap, and it lies at the heart of the mystery of consciousness. Another puzzle of consciousness is its apparent unity and coherence. Despite the brain's complexity and the multitude of neural processes occurring at any given moment, our conscious experience remains remarkably integrated and seamless. This phenomenon, known as the binding problem, raises questions about how the disparate elements of consciousness, sensations, perceptions, emotions, and thoughts, are unified into a single cohesive experience. Furthermore, consciousness exhibits a number of curious properties that defy easy explanation. For example, it is characterized by its subjective first-person perspective, the sense of being that each of us experiences from within. This subjective perspective is deeply personal and cannot be directly observed or measured by external observers, posing challenges for scientific study. Consciousness also exhibits qualities such as intentionality, the capacity to be about something, and phenomenality, the qualitative feel of conscious experience, that are difficult to reconcile with purely physical explanations. While scientists have proposed various theories to account for these properties, including functionalist, representationalist, and panpsychist frameworks, none offer a comprehensive solution to the mystery of consciousness. Furthermore, consciousness is intimately tied to the phenomenon of self-awareness, the ability to reflect on one's own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. This self-reflective aspect of consciousness gives rise to questions about the nature of the self and its relationship to the external world. Are we merely passive observers of our own consciousness, or do we play an active role in shaping our subjective experience? The mystery of consciousness extends beyond the realm of scientific inquiry and into the realms of philosophy, spirituality, and metaphysics. Throughout history, philosophers and mystics have grappled with questions about the nature of consciousness, its origins, and its ultimate significance. From ancient Eastern traditions that explore the nature of the self through meditation and introspection to Western philosophical debates about the mind-body problem, consciousness has been a perennial subject of fascination and speculation. In recent years, advances in neuroscience, psychology, and artificial intelligence have shed new light on the mysteries of consciousness, offering tantalizing glimpses into its underlying mechanisms. Yet, for all our progress, the essence of consciousness remains elusive, its depths unfathomable by human minds. As we continue to explore the mysteries of consciousness, we are faced with profound questions about the nature of reality, the limits of human knowledge, and the very meaning of existence itself. And while we may never fully unravel the mystery of consciousness, the quest to understand it will continue to inspire curiosity, wonder, and awe for generations to come. Harvard scientists think they've found the physical source of consciousness. Human consciousness has been one of life's greatest enduring mysteries, puzzling theorists, scientists, and philosophers alike for thousands of years. But now scientists have published a study that suggests that we might be one step closer to solving this mystery once and for all. The past few decades have brought multiple leaps and bounds in the field of neuroscience, as technology has allowed researchers to dive deeper into the human brain than ever before, This has allowed us to be able to track brain activity throughout multiple stages of consciousness and alertness, as scientists attempted to piece together how all of these electrical signals come together to create a brain that is unique from most other organisms in its awareness of its own existence. This study highlights research that pinpoints a network of 3 specific brain regions that appear to be related to consciousness in some way. For many years, consciousness has been considered to consist of 2 parts, an arousal portion and an awareness portion. And, while the arousal portion has been linked to the brainstem, the awareness portion of consciousness has been much harder to pin down, although many researchers had suspicions that it lay somewhere on the outer layer of the brain. The Harvard study not only pinpointed the exact brainstem region that generates arousal, but it also found 2 regions of the cortex that seem to work in conjunction to form awareness and, thus, consciousness. Lead researcher Michael Fox from the Medical Center at Harvard Medical School spoke on the impressive significance of these findings by saying that for the first time, we have found a connection between the brainstem region involved in arousal and regions involved in awareness, 2 prerequisites for consciousness. A lot of pieces of evidence all came together to point to this network playing a role in human consciousness. To arrive at this discovery, the team deeply analyzed the brain activity of patients who were unconscious or in a comatose state due to brain lesions and compared them to the brain activity of patients who had also experienced brain lesions but had maintained consciousness in order to try to pinpoint the differences between the 2 groups. Once the regions in question were identified, the researchers verified their conclusions with fMRI scans of 45 patients in vegetative states to ensure that they all experienced disruptions in the network between these 3 regions. Their findings were further verified by these scans, and it seems that science might have at last taken us one step closer to discovering the underlying factors of humanity. Understanding the basis of consciousness can lead to innovations in all fields of science, as consciousness is the foundation of all aspects of humanity. One of the greatest challenges in understanding the human brain is its sheer complexity. With billions of neurons and trillions of connections, the brain is like a vast and intricate network, with each neuron acting as a node in a complex web of information processing. Deciphering the codes and algorithms that govern this network is akin to unraveling the secrets of the universe itself, requiring the collaboration of researchers from diverse fields such as neuroscience, computer science, and artificial intelligence. Yet, for all our progress, the mysteries of the human brain are far from being solved. From the origins of consciousness to the nature of creativity and intuition, there is still much we do not know about how the brain works and why it works the way it does. As we continue to unravel these mysteries, we are not only expanding our understanding of the human mind, but also unlocking new possibilities for improving human health, enhancing cognitive function, and even transcending the limits of the brain itself.